Hello, my name is Lakadia. Welcome to the Women Today Table Talk. You know, I always get excited every time when I come at this table, and today, every time I come at this chair. Why? Because we bring people to your homes that will come and empower you, women that will come and make you excited, again, women that will come and educate you. But today is a different day. Guess what? Because today I have the future leaders, the next generations, the women that are going to take over this world. So I'm super, super excited. I have the young girls, young ladies with me. Oh, I'm super excited. Welcome, girls. Welcome. That's fine. That's okay. So welcome to Women Today Table Talk. I tell you what, I'm so honored to have you girls sitting down next to me. I don't know whether I should say I'm excited or I'm a bit worried, but I'm excited to hear what you girls are about to say today. Again, I know who you are, but I want our viewers to know exactly who you are. Your names?
Okay. Thank you, Lady Locadia. My name is Tammy.
My name is Tanisha.
My name is Amani.
My name is Kimberly.
My name is Anita.
Oh, wow. Wonderful. Anita, you might as well hold the mic. So today with me, I have got Imani, I have Tanisha, I have Tammy, I have Kim, and I have Anita. Why I decided to sit down with these young girls is because these young girls were born in the UK, but they were raised by parents that are from Africa. And you know that in Africa, my mother raised me differently. And so having a daughter in the UK and a son in the UK, I tend to raise my child the way my mother raised me. So I wanted to sit down with them and hear exactly about their views. What do they think about the culture differences? What do they think about the things that we tell them as their parents as compared to their society? When I say society, I mean at school, with the friends that they do have. So I'm excited. I'm excited to, so listen. Yes, girls, I'll start with you, Anita. Your parents are from Africa, and then you were born in the UK. And so what are some of the, I wouldn't say challenges, what are some of the things that you have gone through that were difficult for you? Because I know your mom, she's also from Africa, born in the UK. Tell me about some of the challenges or some of the good things that you have learned from your parents.
I don't think it's necessarily challenges, but
Okay.
it's definitely like generations.
Oh, wow.
Because like growing up, their generation is much, much different to ours.
Wow.
Like the people who are around us, and also like perspectives as well. Like we can see the African perspective of how they were raised and brought up, and then there's ours, and then the people around us as well. Like we see how they're brought up as well.
I like what you said, because some people see them as challenges. But I like something that you said that is very profound. You said, I don't see them as challenges. So for you, you see them as, look, I'm learning from my mother's or my father's generation or what they went through. So for you, I hear benefits. Yeah, you've experienced more benefits from your parents.
I'd say for me, like mostly like kind of being inspired, being like of even like how they came to the UK. Like, and like Anita said, like the perspective that it gives you, like we're very privileged here, and
Wow. It's so good to hear a child talking about, the challenges that we face as parents or your parents face, for you to be able to have a better life, if you say, because the life that you girls are having is completely different from the life that we experience in Africa.
As Anita said, it's not necessarily challenges, but it is like different to how other people have things in their like house and like the area where they live, like maybe obviously different foods, different languages, different music. So there's a lot of different things, and going out into the world, listening and getting other information and mixing it with where we're from. That's just kind of,
That's good. Yes, Tanisha.
So, like, as everyone's saying, as you were saying, how you have been brought up in Africa, and you basically teach on how your parents have been teaching you. And that's like one of the challenges. I know that people haven't been talking about challenges.
You talk about challenges, darling.
That's one of the challenges, because we have like other friends that are actually, their parents are born, their grandparents are with it, like in the UK. And it's kind of different because since you're teaching us a different way, if we go out to them and they've been taught like a different way, and lots of people have been taught a different way, it's kind of different, like kind of like hard to just like work around with them, because you don't know how they've been raised. Like you don't, like, if you don't know what they've been taught and you don't know how their rules are, it's kind of different for
That's
them,
good.
so.
You see, I like what you said, because I remember having a discussion where, like, you know that some of your friends, they've got their grandparents around, and their grandparents will give them presents, their parents will give them presents, but your grandparents are in Africa, so instead of getting presents from your grandparents, we actually give to the grandparents. So no, that's good. That's really good. That's good.
Thank you.
And
based on what Kim was saying as well, like, you know, like the hurdles our parents might have faced, like, you know, coming into like England. Like, I feel like we should be very thankful for that, because, you know, they did their best for us so we could have better opportunity here. And we should use that, you know, to our advantage. Like, we should be very grateful that we have easy access to things. You know, like they may have struggled a lot, but we have it in our reach. So I feel like for them, like if it wasn't for them, then you know, we never know how hard it would be for us, because we haven't faced what they've faced, you know, coming here. And so, you know, when they're just teaching us these things, we should take that as an opportunity to, you know, just gain more intelligence, you know, what they've got to say, because they've experienced a lot more.
Wow. I hear gratitude, thankfulness, really grateful that you're so grateful that, you know, your parents went through some difficult challenges so that you yourself could be able to have a better life. And, you know, it's very nice, because it's nice to hear you young ladies appreciating your parents, because what they've gone through, it's not as easy. You know, I remember having a discussion with my daughter talking about how I didn't have like shoes, you know, on a Sunday was special to wear shoes. I mean, growing up for us, Christmas was special, because Christmas was a day where we're going to have rice and chicken. But here you eat rice and chicken, it's Christmas every day. So it's really good, because I'm hearing some very positive things, and I know your parents are going to be so proud, because I know it's something that you don't tell your parents, to say we're so grateful for the things that you've actually done, not just your moms as well as your dad. Tell me about language within your homes. Do you love to speak your own language from your parents, you know, like, or do you prefer English? Do you get embarrassed? We're going to go there. When you ask your parents come to school and we want to speak our language, and you're with your friends. So talk to me about that. We'll start with you, Tammy, and then you can pass it on.
I feel like maybe going back to maybe when we were younger, like hearing your parents speak, like, you know, the mother tongue, like in public spaces, maybe because you don't really hear other, you know, kids, like their parents speaking foreign languages to them. So it's kind of like maybe you're the black sheep and you're like, oh, you know, maybe I don't want them to do this in public. But growing up, I feel like as part of our heritage, we should cherish, you know, and not let that language like disappear. And I feel like it's good for us to, you know, learn it as we grow, because it's part of us.
Oh, wow. You can pass it on too.
Yeah, I agree a lot with what Tammy was saying. It's not necessarily embarrassment, but it is like all attention on you, like what she was saying. If you are in a public space and you hear someone speaking another language, like your instinct is to look to who it is, to look at them, just like maybe necessarily it's not a bad thing, but just sometimes just the attention on you is not like a nice thing. And also what she was saying about like keeping in touch with it, like not disappearing from it, but also understanding that you have come to a country where you speak another language, so it's nice to adapt to that language.
Wow. So I hear you girls are so proud of who you are, very proud of your mother tongue language, and very proud of who you are and who raised you. I like that. Over to you, Kim. I really like that.
For me, like growing up mostly in Nottingham, like there's obviously more like of a diversity down there. So when I was younger, it wasn't much of a surprise to hear people like speaking different languages. But then moving here, like you could tell the difference. Like hearing someone, you'd be like, wait, what? Type of thing. And like speaking Shona in my home, like I find it like fun speaking it, like learning it and understanding it, and like learning new phrases.
Yeah, and like you said, I think in the Northeast, it's different from, down south, because there's so many diverse communities different from. And I like you say, when they speak Shona, you find it so funny, but at least they're speaking that Shona and you enjoy that. And it helps you again to communicate with your grandparents back home, even though we know they speak English as well. Yes, to you.
I really like what they were saying, and I do really like speaking, the language we're from. But like when I was younger, like since it was only me and Anita, the black kids in the class and the African kids in the class, so I used to not really like when my parents would speak like that, and I used to try and speak like other kids. Like I used to try and make my accent sound like I'm from, this side and stuff. So like that kind of grown on me, because I knew when I went home I didn't speak like that. But now I'm really like proud of like where I'm from and stuff. And then because obviously my dad, he like he helps me a lot, and that's why he did his like magazine and stuff about Black African, so it's also made me more comfortable where I'm from, and like I'm not scared to say my full name. My friends know how to pronounce my full name because I told them, so that they're not confused and stuff. So
it's good because it's you're proud of who you are, your name, and your friends, actually your true friends, they can pronounce your name, because that's one of the things that I remember my son really struggling and say, Mom, can we just change our surname? Can we just be called Smith, because I cannot pronounce this name? And I was like, sorry, sweet, unfortunately we cannot change. And again, I love you said, your dad is like your inspiration, big up to Sticks and Stones. That's good. That's good. Tanisha?
So if we're talking about languages here, I'm gonna talk about not just me, but about like my family as well. It's because like knowing like my mother, she's from Africa, of course, and like hearing her talking our languages to her friends, like to her black friends who are from the country as well, like you can actually hear like she's proud to be from where she is, and she's proud to have the accent. But when she's with other people and she's with other people, like what I do, what my brother do as well, we have a bit of a different accent to change, like what Amani said as well, because when you're with other people, you kind of want to blend in, but like everyone wants to be different in the special way, in a good way. But it's kind of good to blend in with like the accent, so people know what you're talking about, because like it's very different around here. Like not everyone is from the same place, so we're all gonna have different languages, and I like actually learning like the language, and it's pretty hard because I'm from the UK and we speak a different language, but I'm still gonna keep trying because it is very like unique and very different to what everyone else says. So
I remember growing up, I grew up in a different part of Zimbabwe. And then, so I used to speak differently. And then my mom, I had the privilege to go to a capital city where I got to mix up with, it was a girls' school. So we had girls that were coming from different backgrounds. So we had girls that were coming from, the ministers' houses, their fathers were businessmen, and they were coming from really wealthy homes. And there I was coming from a very different home. I remember trying to speak like them and acting like them and just being different, and I wasn't myself. And you can pretend to be somebody for so long, but the real you actually will come out at the end. And I think that's something that comes with the peer pressure. And because I've been your age before, and there's this pressure of wanting to look like, or wanting to feel like, or wanting to fit in, so that you become part of that group, which is another topic that I was going to discuss about. Do you feel the peer pressure at school to be different? Do you feel that pressure? And if you do, I mean, if you don't, that's fine. But if you do, how do you overcome it? Why I'm saying this, because they're going to be other young girls like yourselves that are listening. Maybe that person is going through peer pressure at school to be a different person. What can you say to them? And when you're speaking, I want you to speak to the camera, to that girl who's listening, to say, I'm feeling the peer pressure because of who I am, maybe my skin color, or the way I speak, or my background.
I just want to start off by talking about how in schools, like I've noticed a change, how before it was predominantly white, like in my schools, like in my primary, and now but seeing more like ethnic minorities like growing and flooding the school, I feel like it gives me a sense of like reassurance. And to the other like young girls who maybe like, oh, there's no one like me in the school, they should still feel proud for who they are. And for peer pressure, like they shouldn't be pressured to feel like they should change themselves. Like maybe they may want to wear their afro, but when they wear it people make fun of them, so they want to relax their hair all the time. I feel like you can still do that, you can still relax your hair, but don't feel like you should do it for other people. And there'll be a time where you'll start to see more people from your cultures or other ethnic minorities, and you can kind of feel more like at home and feel more that you've got people around you together.
Wow.
I think for me it's different to Tammy because in my school there's not a lot of people who are like me.
Okay.
So when it is peer pressure, you do feel it because everyone around you is different. Their hair is different, their skin color is different, their parents are different, they're allowed to go to parties, you're not. They can do this, you're not. So when you do look at it, you do find it that it is peer pressure, and then sometimes you want to put the blame on your parents, but when really it is just a difference in culture. Wow. So sometimes it's like hard to understand, like you'll be thinking, oh, why can't I just go out? Like it's not that serious. But really it's like a difference in culture. What they do is different from what you do at your home. So in a way it is peer pressure because like there's no one else that you can look to and be like, oh yeah, well it doesn't matter because I've got this person with me.
And you feel left out, and if they do go out and then they're back at school and now they're talking about what they did when they went out, and you did not have that chance to join them again. And I hear you. Yes. Kim.
I think that's very true. And also the fact that it's like African Christian parents, like they have their culture, and after they also have like the Christian beliefs and stuff like that. And also like the peer pressure thing, I think also the fact that I was like born in Nottingham, grew up in Nottingham, which is like definitely more diverse. I think it like shaped me more as a person to be like more confident to compared when I came here and like the only black girl in my year or like one of two in my year. It's obviously very different because in my old school in Nottingham there'd be maybe like hundreds and there'd be like a couple other people. So I think like that shaped me as a person. But back to the peer pressure, I think like the fact that like how you feel and left out and stuff.
Like the peer pressure is real, it does exist. I mean, because we don't want to ignore that, and that's the reason why we're having this discussion. We want the young girls to know, okay, peer pressure is there. You're not the only person feeling it, but we also want the parents to understand that, look, yes, we appreciate that you are from Africa. We appreciate that. We appreciate that you respect your mother tongue. We appreciate that you're Christians, but we also want you to understand the other side of us. And I think that's why we're having this discussion, because I know they're going to be parents watching and listening, but we want them to learn, and learning from a position of love, so that we know exactly how best we can help our children. And Imani.
Okay, so I feel like there is quite a lot of peer pressure because in my year there is a couple of black people, and that like it reassures me, like Tammy said, because it knows that like we can joke where we're from and stuff, and like a lot of people where I'm from. So but then like there was this one girl that came from Nigeria not so long ago, and then I remember she was like, she came, she was nice, she was quiet, and I was helping her because the teacher asked me to. So I started walking around with her. Then she came to my friend group, but then I left that friend group because of some things that went on. And then I know she started to change quite a lot. She like started coming lessons late, she started changing her hair, she started becoming more rude, then started skipping lessons. And then I'll ask her like, why are you coming late to lesson? She said she was taking this other girl to her lesson who's not really a good person. So I was just like, okay. And then one time I asked her, oh, how was it like in Nigeria? And then she was like, oh yeah, I forgot. And I was like, okay, do you remember the school dinners and that? And then she was like, no, I forgot. And I remember at the start day she was there, she brought in her own food. And then like the girl who she's still friends with said something mean about her food. Wow. Obviously I said something, I was like, you can't say that and stuff. But I remember she just stopped bringing food altogether and she started getting school food. So I just saw her eating her like fish and chips there. And I was like, that's sad. Like, and then so then I started trying to ask her. She just said, nah, just leave me alone, I'm alright. So I'm still trying to talk to her, and I wish there was a way that I could help her more to feel more comfortable of who she is. But I feel like there is a lot of peer pressure around because of comments that people could say. So yeah.
That's very nice and very kind of you, Imani, because seeing somebody like that going through something like that, and you're there to sort of like support them and help them, and they were coming to school, they were enjoying their kind of food, and for her to stop eating her favorite food because obviously that, again, peer pressure, it changes the way you behave or the way the food you eat. And I think it's important that parents can actually realize that, because some parents can say, well, that doesn't matter, just eat this, but this is somebody stopping to eat what they want because of peer pressure. And if your friend need help, you can talk to your dad, you can talk to us, and we can find the best way we can help you so you can help your friend. Yes, Miss Tanisha.
I want to go back to the part you talked about parents, about how they need to understand, like, not to push it into their culture.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
But
be yourself, go ahead.
But also, I want to say to the people out there who are like getting peer pressure because of who they are, and like they don't want to get bullied. And I know peer pressure can come from your parents or people that are just out there, and your friends and stuff like that. So I just wanted to go back to how, if you're like, it's fine if you're like, you don't want to get forced to do like what you don't want to do. Say, like, for example, if you want to have your hair out, as Tammy said, and you just won't because you're scared of getting bullied, or just getting out there and just being embarrassed. And I was just about to say, like, how it's okay to be who you are, because if whoever's out there, it doesn't matter about what they like about you, what they don't like about you. It's your culture. Just embrace it, because we're actually lucky to be in this culture. And I think it's really special to just carry some bits with you, like carry bits of like Zimbabwe and carry it with you for the rest of your life, because you don't want to get peer pressure into to be someone who else you don't want to be. Like, for example, people that are different, like, for example, Black History Month. I found that, like, I love Black History Month, and in school when you're like celebrating it, or like, because you've got different like
ethnicity,
yeah,
that's the word.
Yeah, and people just around you that are not like you, different. And if you're talking about Black History Month and you don't only feel, since you're like the only person out there, and you feel like, oh, everyone's staring at me, or like, oh, because I'm different, it's all going to be like, everyone's going to be weird about it. Just remember that it's your month and it's your time.
I was going to say amen to that. It's your time, it's your month.
But yeah, that's what I wanted to say.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
I also just want to add on, like, with what Tanisha was saying, like, Black History Month, like, it's your month. And I know that, especially with how a lot of Black people, they may not be a lot of you in places like school, so you may want to put down, your culture and what your people have done. So I feel like with Black History Month, I know a lot of schools, they may not teach a lot on it, but I feel like you should maybe try and speak to the school, because although it's good for you to, do your own research, watch some documentaries, talk with your parents, it's also good for teachers to get that out, about Black History Month. As we learn about the war, like World War I and World War II, we should also learn about ourselves and what our ancestors and our people have done to fight.
Wow. During the Black History Month, do you feel the pressure more, or do you think it's a good thing that, we have Black History Month, or you feel the pressure? You want to say both?
Yeah, but I was just going to say, because it's kind of both, because you do feel pressure that everyone's going to be like, oh, it's like looking at you, or like everyone's targeting you, but not like in a mean way, but you just like, you can feel the pressure.
Yeah.
Because like, especially in school, that's the thing, like around your friends, and you just don't want to be embarrassed in front of everyone, because I can just feel the humiliation. And to be proud, like, I'm really proud of it, and I'm sure you guys are too. It's like you're proud and you're like embarrassed at the same time.
Okay.
Because like you're proud because this is like how it's supposed to be, and you're celebrating something that you should be celebrating, but also embarrassed just because, like, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I wanted to say that Black History Month also, I don't think it's as celebrated as it should be, because when it says something like the LGBT month, I saw a police car that was painted with it on. When it was Black History Month, nothing was really said.
Okay.
Or when other months are more like said about Black History Month isn't. I didn't even have an assembly in my school. I know some schools had some, but I never saw it. Kind of was just like.
So it's very important that Black History Month is also celebrated in a way that it's visible to everybody, just like what you have said. And I hear mixed feelings that yes, it is a good month to celebrate us as Black people, but it's also a month that we feel more peer pressure, like what Tanisha have said, that everybody's looking at us in class. This is it's getting interesting. Because of the peer pressure, do you have friends or experience? Does that make you feel worried, anxiety, panic attack? And I know these are some of the words we don't say because we're Christians, right? And though we know that, we can pray to God, God can help us. But do you feel those things? And when you feel, how do you deal with them? It doesn't have to be anyone, but, anyone that.
Instead of thinking about the bad things or what people might have said or done disrespectfully, just think about about what Tammy said, like your ancestors and what they've done, instead of thinking about, people are gonna make fun of me and stuff like that. It's just like to go out there and be like, wow, this is me, this is my culture, this is how it's gonna be forever, and yeah, just embrace it.
I have got one burning question. You see, the young ones now, they wear designer stuff, very expensive things. Talk to me about peer pressure in terms of like what you ladies wear. Is there peer pressure? Do you feel it, or are you okay? Because especially now as young girls, there's pressure to look a certain way, to fit in a certain way, and there you are, you go home and you say, Mom and Dad, I need this kind of shoe, I need this bag. And they can actually generally cannot afford it, but your friends can actually afford them. Is there pressure?
I feel like there is pressure. Sometimes it's because you genuinely like the piece of clothing, you like the shoes, you like the coat. Sometimes it's because the people around you. If someone next to you is wearing Canada Goose and you're wearing something that you brought from like Tesco or something, you do feel it. It's not just
That's
like
true.
Looking around, you feel it in yourself, like, oh, okay. And it's not even about like wearing the most expensive thing, but if everyone around you is like wearing certain things or doing certain things, or like you honestly do feel it in yourself, like you just think, oh, maybe I should just get this just so that they could stop looking at me, or just stop asking, or like even if they don't say it to you, like oh, why are you wearing that, you can just feel it, like nothing has to be said, like you just know you're the odd one out of everyone there.
Wow. And over to you, Kim.
I was kind of gonna touch back on that about like feeling different, and also the thing like my parents like always remind me that like they have people to like give stuff to in like Zimbabwe, and obviously like sometimes I feel like I kind of have guilt when I'm asking for stuff. Like it's gotten to the point where like when I'm asking for like shoes, like if I'm asking for like £200 shoes, and after I'm thinking like this could buy bread or something.
Yeah,
for
they're
someone.
calculating that.
I feel like that's now kind of like just default in my head type of thing. And like I always get reminded, like especially each time I go back to Zimbabwe, after I see like my cousins in rural areas and like the way they live, and then I'm here like asking like for £100 shoes and stuff like that, like you automatically feel some guilt for being
you know,
selfish.
it's what you girls are saying, it's important. That's why we're having this conversation now. As parents, we are using this language that, look, I have to send the money home, and I know I'm guilty of that because I say that as well. And so it kind of like makes you feel bad to ask for something that you like. At school, your friends are wearing something nice, and there you are, you're asking your parents, but they still remind you about back home. So you now have mixed feelings. You feel bad about asking again, but that's what you want. But then you feel bad about, oh, there's some people like that 200 pounds can actually feed 300 people in Africa. So it kind of like it's a very hard and difficult place to be. And I hear you. And this is why we are doing this, because it will help parents as well to see how best can we help our girls. Yes, to you.
So I do really feel like bad if I like him was saying, if I have something and then I feel like, oh, over there they don't have anything. But also I feel like I feel sorry for my parents sometimes, because I feel like maybe if I don't have the best attitude, and then I expect them to like get me something, it's not really in good terms, like asking for something like that. So
Wow.
I'll be fast with this one, I promise. I was gonna say how it's fine if you don't feel like, or if you want your stuff and like your parents know that they can give it to you. And for example, I'm just gonna use my brother for example. He loves designer stuff. I like them too, but I'm not as needy and like want it more. But he really likes his stuff. But I don't think he gets around the point where other people don't have this stuff. And my mom's got family at Africa and like people that need more stuff, but I just like I don't think he's like, oh, I don't care about them. I think people don't realize that other people aren't as lucky as you and they don't have the right privileges and stuff like that. But like I'm going back to Africa this year, so I can't wait to see the rest of my family. But I'm also like I don't want to be braggy because I know they don't have as much stuff. And like if I go there like with an iPhone 13, they'll be like, oh wow and stuff. And like I don't want anyone to be like jealous or like upset or like discouraged because we've got like better stuff and we live in the UK or something like that. That's why I'm always like fine when my mum like goes to Africa by herself to give to her family, or like when, for example, like a couple like videos ago there was like where Women Today went to Africa to help everyone, to help the little kids as well and to give them stuff, and I actually felt like joy from that because like they don't get the same stuff as we do, and I feel like really lucky for that as well.
Wow.
Yeah. I just want to touch back a bit onto like the peer pressure, like the pressure on maybe not having like the designer or the clothes that you may want, like say if certain things may be coming back into trend, or some things that you shouldn't have, like an iPhone, you're like, oh, these are really nice shoes, and then like you may see other people with it and you're like, oh, I would really like that, but that with all these saying, like, your parents, they'll have, they want to send things back. And, if you maybe ask, you feel a sense of guilt. But some people, like the people who are privileged, like say their parents might not have, they're white or something, or from other ethnic groups, and they might not send things back. They may not have the understanding of like why we can't have these things. And they may, this can start with like just nitpicking at people and be like, oh, you should really get this. I don't know why it's so hard for you to get this. So I feel like for the young children, like young people, especially now, even the younger generations, like 8-year-olds, 9-year-olds, they may feel even more because their friends, they may be getting these designer things and they may not have, and they're too young to understand. They may be very angry at their parents, like, oh, why can't I have this? My friend has this. It's not that hard. So I just feel like we should understand that, especially as Africans, we have people back home that we love and we want to share what we've got. And if we can't get something that we really, really want, we should just have that understanding.
That was really good. Thank you, girls, for joining me. It has been amazing. I tell you what, I have been learning, I have been listening, and I know I have been transformed. There's some things that I had in my mind, and I think after listening to you girls talking about them, that have actually helped me to become a better mom. And I know that your parents, they will be watching. This will help them as well. Not just your parents, but also your friends. This has been amazing. If you have ears, you have heard. As I was sitting down chatting to these young ladies, I had so many things going on in my mind. I could hear gratitude. We're so thankful. It was interesting because we're talking about we Africans. To me, it shows that they are so proud of who they are, very proud of their parents, and they're actually appreciating the struggles that their parents are going through. And so these are young girls that do understand. There are also young girls that are actually saying, listen, as our parents, there's peer pressure out there. We want you to understand that, at school, we're being seen different. I also want to go out with my friends. I also want to dress good. I appreciate that you're from Africa. And I appreciate that you're sending clothes, you're sending money to your parents. But I'm here, I'm your child. I also want the nice thing. Peer pressure does exist. So if you're a parent, you're listening, don't ignore your children. Sit down with your children, your girls, your boys, understand where they're coming from. Don't shout, don't scream. Hear them from exactly where they're coming from. Because if we shut them, again, they end up being wild or behaving in a certain way. But it has been really good. It has been very educational for me. Listen to these young girls, the future generation for tomorrow. Even the Bible says, train a child in the way that they should grow. Look, these young girls, their future is bright. We want to learn from them. We want to help them. We want to be a stepping stone for them so that their future is bright. I have really enjoyed this. We're definitely going to have a part 2. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you so much for listening. I hope you have been empowered. I hope you have learned a lot, and I hope from this table talk, you're going to take some things, you're going to make some changes to be able to be a better parent, a better sister, and to be able to help your daughter. And for myself and Women Today, thank you.